has struck Iranian-backed groups. Iran's foreign ministry warns the strikes could destabilize regional security, saying, and I quote, "Our advice to the new administration is that instead of making crisis and creating problems for people in the region, take corrective actions and let regional people determine their destiny." Well, meantime, Iraq says the strikes violate its national sovereignty. The US is citing the ongoing attacks on US interests for the reason for the strikes. We have CNN's Barbara Starr following this for us from the Pentagon, and senior international correspondent Awa Damon is live for us in Istanbul. Good to have you both with us. I want to start with you first, Barbara. This is the second time we've had an attack like this under the Biden administration. What can you tell us?
Well, one of the reasons this is happening, Linda, is because the U.S. says that these Iranian-backed militias in this border region are staging attacks using armed drone technology, and they're staging those attacks against U.S. troops. The big worry, of course, is that they're going to wind up killing U.S. troops, and that could become very quickly a wider conflict. So what you had overnight were these airstrikes, 2 on the Syrian side, 1 on the Iraq side, going after these staging areas where the U.S. believes all of this is originating from. The idea is that the U.S. is saying these are precision and defensive and hoping it's a deterrent to these Iranian-backed militias, but that may be a very much a wish rather than something that's going to happen anytime soon. This kind of activity, these kinds of militia stage attacks have been going on for years, and it's been very tough for the Iraqi government to be strong enough to push these militias out. Linda?
Yeah, it certainly is. Barbara, I'm going to come back to you in just a moment, but I want to go to Awa first on the reaction in the region. Awa, if you can just explain to us what you're hearing from Iraq and Iran.
Well, at this stage, basically what the Iranians are saying is that this is an effort, an attack that was going to be quite detrimental to stability in the region, but it is perhaps what's happening and what we're hearing from Iraq that is more significant at this stage. You have a number of senior Iraqi officials who are saying that this is a violation of their own sovereignty. To reference what Barbara was saying about the strength of the Iraqi government, it's not just an issue of the Iraqi government not being able to sort of rein in these various different Iranian-backed Iraqi Shia militias. It's also an issue with the Iraqi military. The reason why these militias were able to reemerge and become so powerful is because when the U.S. Withdrew from Iraq years ago, the Iraqi security forces, despite what Americans were saying at the time, were not fully ready or capable of handling the security situation, which eventually is, of course, what led to the emergence of ISIS. The emergence of ISIS is what then led to these Iranian-backed Shia militia groups to be able to sort of recoalesce, expand, emerge, and become arguably even more powerful than they were when Iraq was being occupied by U.S. forces itself. And so Iraq's fate right now is very much intertwined to the fate of what happens between Iran and the United States. And Iraqis, whether it's Iraqis that you speak to in the street or the vast majority of Iraqis in government, will tell you that Iran and the United States have to stop using Iraq as their background for these back and forth, strikes on the one hand, airstrikes in retaliation, ongoing tensions between these two countries, because Iraq itself can't sustain this. Iraq will not be able to survive as a stable nation as long as these two countries, America and Iran, keep going at each other within Iraqi territory.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to come back to you in just a second. Barbara, I want to get your take on how this is playing out diplomatically, because as we're seeing this proxy war play out, we also know, obviously, that there's talks underway to revive the Iran nuclear deal.
Well, that certainly does, I think, linger behind much of this as a major issue. Now, whether it really changes anything with the militias or not would be an open question. But it's one of the reasons the U.S. wants to see these militias under control. Again, they don't want to see the militias stage any kind of attack that would lead to U.S. fatalities, U.S. casualties, that could then draw in the U.S. military in a way that it is not now and could harm any diplomatic progress. The U.S. wants to keep everything pretty stable, and so they're using these strikes that we've seen as another deterrent mechanism. Whether it works remains to be seen.
Yeah, exactly. And to you, Ara, on this, the US Secretary of State met with Israel's new foreign minister. Not surprisingly, as we've heard from Israel in the past, he expressed serious reservations about the Iran nuclear deal.
Yeah, I mean, Israel historically has not really wanted to see the deal emerge when it first did years ago under the Obama administration, and now most certainly does not want to necessarily see it revive, believing that it may perhaps embolden Iran or actually push Iran towards thinking that it has a bit more of a carte blanche, free reign to sort of expand on its own nuclear capabilities. But that being said, something has to happen. Look, Linda, there are some analysts who are saying that the reason why we're seeing, this sort of uptick to a certain degree, although this has pretty much been the status quo, in these targets against U.S. interests in Iraq carried out by these Iranian-backed militias is because Iran is feeling the pinch on its economy. It's feeling the pinch of U.S. sanctions, and it wants to hit an American pressure point. And the most convenient U.S. pressure point that it has within its sights is American installations, American interests inside Iraq. But at the same time, that being said, Linda, there are a few other things to also take into consideration, and that is that Iran is very deeply entrenched in Iraq. And so when it comes to the issue of these Iranian-backed Shia militias, the other big concern is how powerful of a force they actually are. And many will argue that they are more powerful than the Iraqi army itself. And what you most certainly do not want to see emerge as the end scenario in a country like Iraq is what we have in Lebanon, for example, where you have Hezbollah's armed forces who are more powerful than the Lebanese army. And that has never boded well for Lebanon. And so within Iraq, having an armed force that is not under the direct command and control of the Iraqi security forces, that is more powerful than the Iraqi security forces, most certainly is not going to bode well for Iraq's long-term stability or future.
Certainly isn't. And just back to you, Barbara, on how this began. The US claims it carried out these airstrikes after drone attacks. Are we likely to see this tit for tat continue?
Well, I think it's very likely that it will. If these militias keep up with these attacks, we have seen them sporadically over time in terms of a U.S. response, and I don't think there's any reason to think the Biden administration is not going to pursue these targets.
All right, Barbara Stalford.
We're waiting for relief. I got them $1.9 trillion relief so far. They're going to be getting checks in the mail that are consequential this week for childcare. A lot has been happened already, number one. Number two, I'm going to fight like heck to get them the rest of what I think has to be done. I'm going to be going around the country, spending time making the case to the American people that this just isn't about showing an identification that this is who I am when I vote. This isn't just about whether or not, you can provide water for someone standing in line while they're waiting to vote. This is about who gets to judge whether your vote counted after it's been cast. Think about it. Don't dismiss it at all. Just remind them, I wrote the bill on the environment. Why would I not be for it? Employers can't find workers. I said, yeah, pay them more. This is an employees bargaining chip now.
Hey guys, this is Tommy with Tommy Nation Politics. How's everyone doing today?
Tommy Nation Politics.
Once on a time, old Johnny bull flew in a raging fury, and said that Jonathan should have no trial, sir, by jury, that no election should be held across the briny water. And now, said he, I'll tax the tea of all his sons and daughters. Then down sate in burly state, and blustered like a grandy, and in the derision made a tune called Yankee Doodle Dandy. Yankee Doodle Dandy. These are facts. Yankee Doodle Dandy. My son of wax, your tea I'll tax. Yankee Doodle Dandy. John sent the tea from o'er the sea with heavy duties rated, but whether hyson or bohea, I never heard it stated. Then Jonathan to pout began, he laid a strong embargo. I'll drink no tea, by Jove, so he threw overboard the cargo. Then Johnny sent a regiment, big words and looks to bandy, whose martial band, when near the land, played Yankee Doodle Dandy. Yankee Doodle, keep it up, Yankee Doodle Dandy. I poison with axe your cup, Yankee Doodle Dandy. A long war then they had, in which John was at last defeated, and Yankee Doodle was the which his troop retreated. Cute Jonathan to see them fly could not restrain his laughter. That tune, said he, suits to a T, I'll sing it ever after. With Hail Columbia it is sung, in cool and hearty. On land and main we breathe the strain John made for his tea party. Yankee Doodle, ho ha he, Yankee Doodle Dandy. We kept the tune, but not the tea, Yankee Doodle Dandy. No matter how we rhyme the word, speaks them handy, and where can't sing the air of Doodle Dandy. Yankee Doodle firm and true, Yankee Doodle Dandy. Yankee Doodle doodle do, Yankee Doodle Dandy. End of chapter 13.
Is it the end of chapter 13, guys? Or is it just the beginning? Just the beginning. What? That's what I want to find out. You know, back in the times of the colonists, that was the beginning of our country. My son of wax, your TL tax, you bullshit King George honky, Yankee Doodle fucker, Yankee Doodle Dandy. Fuck you and your stupid tea, Yankee Doodle Dandy. You know what I'm saying? So let me get this straight. 8 million people slipped into poverty during the pandemic. We were robbed. 48 hours it took Wall Street, the banks, and the military-industrial complex to buffer the stock market with government money and enrich themselves for the first time. And then the second time, and then the third time with the CARES Act, the upward transfer to wealth, now since the Gilded Age, and cuts in unemployment, enhanced unemployment, lapses, people out of work, people not being able to put food on the table for their families. But yet, the most important thing, guys, is that fucking commission, that January 6th commission, those traitors, Trump, I mean, literally. There's some questions that need to be answered about where we shall progress, guys. But I just want to say first, hi, this is Tommy with Tommy Nation Politics. How y'all doing today? Good? I hope so. I have guests with me, guys. We're it's a very Yankee Doodle Dandy day, and some conversations about the news. My first guest is Andy Kennedy. I'm going to take him out of the green room. I don't really know how to segue today. What's up, Andy? You there?
Hey, buddy. I'm here. How are you? It's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you, bro. I mean, I have seen you since the Progressive Bee, and I was on your show, Hair of the Dog. That was pretty fun.
That was a great time.
Yeah, it was a great time. Modern monetary theory. You you hooked me up with that. So how is this going? Like, you're in Canada though, right? So
Yes.
how do you feel about our government, right? Look, as an outsider looking in, let's just ask that first question.
Well, Where to start?
Anywhere. I know. I say the same thing. God.
There's been a very interesting development in terms of people who understand MMT, because the chairman of the budget committee, John Yarmouth, came out on C-SPAN a week ago
Yeah.
and basically quoted the first few chapters of Stephanie Kelton's Deficit Myth book. And this was the very first time a sitting congressman has ever spoken in these terms. And it was, we could have been Bernie, it wasn't Bernie. Could have been AOC, wasn't AOC. Jayapal, Khanna, any of these guys. It was John Yarmouth.
Right.
From Kentucky.
He was a congressman?
Yeah.
Congressman? Okay.
Yeah, he came out and he explained it like one of our guests on Macro and Cheese. Like, this was not something that was brand new to him, right?
Yeah.
It's a very promising start.
This is
in terms of what we
Are you talking about the rhetoric is a promising start, though? Is that a promising start? Or what?
No, that's just business as usual. you know. We're talking. I found it very interesting, the Biden press conference that you showed, or wherever he was, right, where he kept leaning into the microphone.
What did you think was interesting about that?
Everything. I thought it was interesting.
It's a weirdo.
All I could think of was, I'm not going to do anything that will cost my donors any money.
So, yeah, that was my point during the whole entire, beginning. So, Andy, I don't understand. You and I, we're progressives, and we understand these things because we're not attached to these parties, I guess. I don't know what it is, their spell. But they robbed us. People are slipping into poverty, and all they can do is take care of their donors. We've just bought aircraft from Boeing. We're enriching the big pharma and the military-industrial complex. And the Iranian strikes, defensive. They're defensive. Did you read that? How defensive is it if you go over 3,000 miles or whatever to somebody else's country? How defensive is it?
I would say that the commentators are like, they attacked our soldiers with drone strikes. America's like, hey, that's our gig.
Yeah, what? Okay, so this is just developing news, I guess. Because I just saw that article today. So this is what I want to have a conversation about, because I want to know exactly what this guy's doing. I know he's dreamed about it for over 40 years, warmongering. What's his name? Gavel, Mike Gravel, who just died. Rest in peace. But he said straight up to Joe Biden, you have a certain kind of arrogance when you want to talk about the Iraqi people and how to run their country. This guy is now in charge of the military. He's the commander-in-chief of our armed forces, bro. And I know it was coming. I didn't want to be right, but he's a warmonger. He was starting with Russia. Now he was working with Iran. God knows what this guy's going to do. He just bought aircraft. What does this mean? What does this mean for our foreign policy?
He has been the exact same his entire career as a politician, right? That leaning into the microphone, instead of doing that, he could say, look, stupid, right? I'm going to tell you how it is, right?
That's Democratic
his MO. His MO, his entire career, right? When he wrote the crime bill, right? All of the things, the horrible things that he did as a politician his entire career. Now we're supposed to believe in his 70s that he's going to start taking care of people, right? We're going to see a kinder, gentler Joe Biden who is interested in helping people.
Oh, for the first time ever.
No. Oh, it's going to happen.
It's a change. It's a change. You know why? Because Obama said he was choosing Joe Biden was the best choice that I ever made. I'm Barack Obama. I approve this message. So everyone was like, oh, he did. It was. Oh, these guys don't lie.
No, it was. So, Barack, if you want to win this primary, this is who you're going to have to choose.
I mean, they could have chosen anybody in all of those 30,000 bajillion Democrats who came out running after Hillary was not running anymore. They didn't have a death wish. They didn't, like, that's literally why they didn't run, because they're afraid. Everybody knows Hillary kills people. I'm just saying.
Well,
But
sure. Well, it could have chosen
like
their
they could have
agenda.
picked Buttigieg, Andy. They could have picked Amy fucking Klobuchar. They picked the most racist Democrat, the most literally. They talked about the guy. He lies all the time. We're counting the lies.
Yeah.
So I mean, so this is where we're at, and I just want we're having this argument. I think as progressives, and maybe I'll bring Dion on because Dion's already here. But like, we need to talk about this. Let's talk about this, guys. We need to talk about the squad and what they've campaigned on doing, and what they've done. And we need to fucking figure that shit out. Jimmy Dore had a good idea. Force the vote. More ideas on how to get them to do what they need to do. If they're cowards because they're politicians, okay, let's motivate them. If they're fucking traitors, let's fucking not vote. Give them money. Let's not fund them. But we have to figure out what we need to do. I don't know what's up with AOC. She's just afraid of Marjorie Taylor Greene. Oh my God, she's gonna get me. And she's not doing a thing. No Medicare for all, no living wage. In fact, this came out the other day. Dion and Andy, listen to this. So you know how Biden campaigned on, like, getting some of the student debt loan, erasing it, right? Or maybe that's something that Bernie was talking to him about doing. Here it says in Forbes magazine today, Biden administration will make it even easier for student loan borrowers to get mortgages.
It's so ludicrous to me.
At least you'll get a mortgage, though, even though you're debt slave.
You get
Hey, debt slave.
these poor students that are $80,000, $100,000 in debt before they even have assets, before they've even moved out of their parents' house, and they're already debt and they don't have anything. Like, how is that a way to start life?
I don't know. The way they want us to start life. So we have to get a job and work for the elites so they can funnel the wealth to the 1%. But no, I'm sorry. It's contributing to society, and I'm a radical. Sorry.
It's contributing to
let's just bring Dion on, because like, we're having this conversation. Dion, are you ready? Because I'm sorry to pull you on early, but really interesting conversation. So I have Dion Powell. He's the admin of the New York Free Thinkers group on Facebook, and you are kind of doing some activism in the Bronx, right?
Yes, sir.
I saw you with that thing. Who were you supporting?
For what?
Who were you supporting? Was it a candidate?
In the Bronx? Yeah. I was a consultant and campaign advisor for 3 elections, but in the Bronx, I was on the campaign board for Sam Ravello. He was running for the Bronx Borough President. He was a retired police officer. He's a Navy veteran, and he's a 9/11 first responder. But unfortunately, in the bluest county in America, yet the poorest county in America, all that means nothing. That's a hindrance, and it works completely against them in this AOC town village called the Bronx.
I was going to say,
and,
how do you feel about AOC? How do you feel about AOC? Because she's from the Bronx.
I'm totally disgusted with this person. I agree with some of the things that she's spouting, but her means of doing it wrong. And the thing is, she really just disgusted me when she ran for re-election last year, and I actually, came across her. She tried to avoid having a debate with her opponents. One of them,
she avoids Marjorie Taylor Greene in her post-its. She avoids Jimmy Dore. It's violence if you fucking criticize me. She avoids everything but her donors. I don't know who are they? I thought she didn't run for money. I thought she had this on lock. I don't understand, guys. This is ridiculous. And here we are, progressives. We're fighting amongst ourselves. You know what's going on in the groups in Facebook, Dion? Like, all the progressives, we believe in Medicare, we believe in a Green New Deal, we believe in a living wage. Some of us think that Joe Biden is going to do something, which he's not. End of story. But also, Bernie Sanders is helping him with this infrastructure bill. And he knows the last time they did an infrastructure bill with the Democrats, 5% of it went to roads and bridges. The rest of it went to their donors. Why is Bernie Sanders complicit in this? Why is he doing this? Because it's a budget commitment. Is this a duty? Is this his duty? What's up with Bernie Sanders? Can somebody tell me this? But if I ask, I'm the one who's being, I don't know. I should get out there. I don't know. I should stop talking, first of all. Go ahead. Anybody.
It's all about power and control, brother. It's all about power and control. People like AOC and Bernie and Biden, they have to keep dangling that carrot on us in poverty to keep them voting for us with all their so-called ideology that benefits them monetarily, but keeps us dependent on their system, as it were. But I like what this gentleman had to say about policy, so I'm going to defer to him with the rest. But that's just the abstract version, as I see here in the ground, the poorest congressional district, which is the campaign
Is the
slogan
Bronx
for
the
AOC.
poorest? Really?
Yeah, we're supposed to be that. We're always that's a campaign cliche slogan. We're the poorest congressional district, yet we're the most bluest per capita when it comes to Democrats. But people don't see the correlation. But people like AOC and Bernie, they all Hillary Clinton, they all come to the Bronx and like, hey guys, it's time to vote, y'all. Then vote every 4 years, and life is supposed to be a better place. But it never has for the past 50 years.
If we don't change things, guys, and we just dream about these things, do you know what we are? We're not a movement. We're literally, we're fucking crazy. We're insane. I'm just saying, like, if we just keep on fucking dreaming about this shit and it doesn't ever happen, we're just literally, we're seeing things.
Well,
Okay,
plus
we gotta fucking manifest.
We'll
Go
be
ahead.
dead in two decades, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
thanks for sprinkling more sparkles on
How
that.
hot is it in Oregon right now? Like 115?
Really? I didn't know that. Because unfortunately, the social media and the media, they don't let any news come from Portland, Oregon, where, heaven forbid, you'll say something negative about Black Lives Matter. So I get no news whatsoever. So I have to come to you guys and use a little podcast, get my independent news media. So thank you for that.
Well,
sooner or later, the mainstream media does report it, like when they have to, because like it's literally they've hidden it, just like COVID. They've hidden it. They've tried to fucking make money off of it, tried to fucking brand it and smack it on a fucking poster, and it turns out it was a disease. Oopsie. So now 8 million people slip into poverty. We lost the Heroes Act. I'm Nancy Pelosi, and I'm still the Speaker of the House. I know. I was like, seriously, it's just like, what are we gonna do about this shit?
and
First
how
of all,
can you not be depressed right now, right? Like having to deal with all of the bullshit, because if you still think that you're in danger out there for the pandemic, right? Because there's an awful lot of Americans that don't think they are. So they're going around without masks. They don't care about social distance. They're going to baseball games, whatever, right? The Delta variant is a real thing. We are not sure what the efficacy of the vaccines are with the Delta variant. But if you are worried still, it's within your rights to wear a mask and to social distance. And you see videos of people getting chastised because they want to stay safe. What does that say about our society? Like, I find that insane.
We're upside down.
Well,
I just feel like we're focusing. Go ahead.
Sorry, but it's just that, it's insane to me that whether you're Candace Owens or AOC or beyond, is that you can't even have a decent discourse about this on social media, which is fine. It's not a public forum. So freedom of speech, once you check off that little disclaimer box, is out the window. But still, any form that you try to bring or ask or do any kind of critical thinking on these kind of matters, you're immediately censored and guilted and shamed and, that kind of stuff. So that's the scary part of that.
Yeah, they really hate the Constitution, these fucking Republicans and Democrats. They do everything they can to usurp it, like everything they can. This free speech thing, like they're gonna, as usual, they're gonna distract us from the fact they're doing it. And it's just the fucking community guidelines and standards that are now everywhere and in sync and fucking branded and marketed to us. So we don't even really even have to see the standards and community guidelines. We literally live them anyway. It's weird. But okay. So going on, guys, this is what I want to try to figure out. Where we go here from progressives, because we have to continue the fight because we're the Yankee Doodles, guys. We have to go to town. We have to march on some. We have to march on some fucking the language that the Democrats are using everywhere, and I guess. What do you think about this, Andy? So you and I have some differences on the COVID pandemic, because I feel like like I said, we're worried about different things. I understand that what you're saying, and I think it's true, and I don't dispute that. But I also feel like these vaccines, okay, they came out of weird places. It's not just every vaccine. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. It's this one vaccine that had a fucking government contract with the pharmaceutical industry and the military industrial complex, and then all of a sudden Bill Gates owns a COVID fucking patent, and then It's all just so convenient what's happening, and that's what makes me. Am I so paranoid that maybe I feel like the people that I don't know, like the people that are chastising people for not wearing masks? Like, are they really? Like, they're annoying. They're annoying, no doubt. They're annoying as fuck.
I know what you're saying, and it's hard to get through the chaff of society, right? Of all of the bullshit that we hear all the time, right?
Wow.
You've got to do your due diligence to even think if you hear what you're hearing is true or just spin, right? And I get that. So, especially in America, the leading source of propaganda on the globe, that it's a heavy lift to try to figure out what's right and what's wrong. The one thing I would say about the pharmaceutical industry, as corrupt and horrible as they are, their one business model relies on one thing, is that the products that they bring to market actually do what they're supposed to do, right? Because there are enough of them out there that if people die horribly from not from a medicine that's come to the market, it didn't do what they said it was going to do, then that affects their bottom line, right? And in a capitalist society, it's all about profit.
So you're saying they're going to keep us alive because they need us?
Well, I think that there was enough in terms of the scientific community, because the pharmaceutical companies don't do the work of making them. They just profit from them.
Yes,
right?
They're called drug dealers. That's why drug dealers do. Yes, Andy.
So, I mean, in terms of what I've seen, and, you know, I may have a little bit better perspective because of the medical community in my area. My wife is a scrub nurse in the operating room of the local hospital. I know a lot of doctors through her work, and we have a PhD virologist on speed dial, a fellow from Chicago, who I've talked to extensively, and we've done interviews with him live. And he says absolutely that you should never worry about taking this virus, that you are so much better off having it in your system. The side effects of it are minimal compared to what the
Are you talking about the vaccine?
The vaccine, I'm sorry.
Well, which one? Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson and Johnson,
well,
who is just getting, by the way, they're getting sued as we speak. Johnson and Johnson is getting sued for opioid pushing. I don't know what it is. Okay, I'm gonna try to report the news. So I don't know exactly what they're getting sued for, but literally.
Yes, in New York State, we had a major lawsuit against them for the opioid addiction that they put over here. So yes, that did
something
happen.
about that. These guys are making vaccines, Andy.
Yes,
Does that not worry you? Does that not worry you?
Well, I didn't take that one, so I'm not that worried.
Jesus Christ!
I didn't take any vaccine. I'm going to wait. Make sure everybody else gets their vaccine first.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Make sure there's enough for everybody.
So Dion's he's going to be the one guy in New York City alive after everybody else goes through the zombie apocalypse.
I feel like it's not that bad. It's just that, like, have you ever seen a fucking Pinocchio? You know, when, like, they go to Pleasure Island? I think you're going to turn into something. You're going to turn into donks, blue donks. You're going to turn into blue donks.
That's
You're going to be like, hey, you know the thing. Look, play the record player. Play the record player where the kids are sleeping.
Wow.
This guy, and now, okay, so to move on with this, are you checking on something, Dion? Like, why did they get sued? Why did Johnson & Johnson get sued? I want to know. Okay,
because
so
they made their drugs too easily accessible to be addictive. And so
how they do that?
Health insurance, of course, that's another big market for money. So Johnson & Johnson makes the products, the health insurance pays for it, people get addicted, and they'll find any excuse to wobble into the emergency room to get an emergency dosage or whatever from Johnson & Johnson. So, typical, drug dealer policy of, the first time's free, if you remember that.
Yes, but now we have a fucking Obamacare program where we can get all of these shitty health insurance middlemen into one little fucking website. And then we can tell all the poor people to fucking, like, take that insurance. hey, poor people, we're helping you. We're helping you, like, go to Pleasure Island and get poisoned. This is what I'm saying. Like, literally, everything they do. And then the president is just a middle manager that gets us there, which is why I'm curious about this whole Iranian strike. So Trump, as y'all probably remember, he fucking he killed the second in command, Soleimani, right? So I was pissed at Trump. This whole time he's trying to get out of Syria, but the Kurds, the MSNBC, but the Kurds. You never talked about the Kurds before, Rachel. I talk about the Kurds all of a sudden. Oh, we can't get out of Syria. So like now, then he decided to make everybody happy. So he killed Soleimani, or I don't know how that happens. How do presidents order this stuff? These assassinations? I don't know how they do that. But anyway, Soleimani died, and then we were at war for like 3 days. Y'all remember that? I was working at fucking.
Yeah, that was very interesting.
3 days we were at war. There was missiles and shit going off.
Right,
and that's
why. That's right. The thing about Trump that you got to give him credit for is that Trump didn't really have many international incidents like all the other predecessors when it comes to war and battles. That's why I tell people that's one aspect Trump can give credit for. But somebody told me that I was on their campaign as a consultant for something that's very key is that peace comes through strength. And the thing about Trump is so many people in the world didn't know what this man would do or would be capable of as the president of the United States. So that underlying fear across the board has certain people fallen in line to a certain degree, like, all right, let's not really try this man. Even as they say in Star Trek, only Nixon could go to China. So Trump was the only one to go to North Korea. He was our friend one day and then spaceman the next day. It's kind of weird, but still, things were kind of calm and peaceful. I'll give him Trump with that. With just his very presence. Whereas Obama, they tried him. Biden, they're trying him. You know what I mean?
I mean, the Biden, they're trying him a hardcore. Like, every single question from the mainstream media is Putin trying to test you? Is Putin trying to test you? Does Putin think you're weak? God damn it, mainstream media. Do you watch the cable news? And I see you laughing, bro. Literally, they fucking chide him all the time.
No.
The only hard questions they ask him is about war and Putin. That's it.
Well, the thing about the media, unfortunately, has shown its ass as though they need money raised because now that Trump is out of the picture, just like when George W. got out the picture, the ratings plummeted because they have nobody to poke fun at and to make the bun of all their jokes and for their ratings. It's not with Biden. They have to come with the controversy and, as they see in journalism, sensationalism, as the gentleman said earlier, the slant necessary to get more viewers to read and click and all that kind of thing. But it's not working anymore.
Yeah, like the Biden thing, like he was whispering. I didn't find it that creepy because I've seen Biden do worse shit. So I'm like, no, this is just Wednesday for Biden. I think Britney Spears single-handedly fucking saved the ratings of the cable news networks.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's why they're grabbing onto this. Today I was like, what does K-Fed think about Britney's fucking conflict? Well, K-Fed is the ex-husband, and I don't think he's helping. Thanks, ABC.
Maybe
like literally, they're just all over this shit. Britney Spears, once again, saving the entire industry. Jesus Christ, she should be president. I would literally be less afraid as I am now. Literally, I would.
Maybe she run for governor of California. Recall.
I mean, literally, California.
If Britney were president, that would mean her father's running the country, right?
Yeah, by law, I guess. Maybe.
Right now. Andy, that's mean, okay? I should have free Britney. Okay.
Call it like I see it, bro.
All of a sudden, everybody's on her side, I guess, because like she's part of the forum's fucking spotlight. This can do, guys. Not you guys, but I'm talking about the conventional wisdom and social norms. You could just take any situation and we could make a hero and you could make a villain, and then that becomes the narrative. And the narrative now is that we have to. Putin has to extradite these cyber criminals that did some hacking or ransomware, and also we might go to war on behalf of Ukraine, right? And also they're building a fucking oil pipeline with Erdogan, the Turkish president. So we hate Putin because of all these things, and also Trump. So are we going to war? This is a straight up question, guys. What do you predict? Just make a prediction, please. I don't know. I have no idea. Are we going to war? Are we going to war with Iran or Russia? Because they're allies right now. They're allies.
My
might have a world war, bro.
My answer is no, but a series of military conflicts and controversies to keep us stringing us along. Just like with Dragon Ball Z, there's always a bigger threat around every corner.
There's always a what?
There's always a bigger threat around every corner.
Oh, good. That sounds great.
How can we go to war if Biden is going to be going around the country talking to people. Can't do both.
Well, I mean,
You heard him. He
literally,
said,
nobody's going to be listening to this guy.
I'm going around the country.
I know,
It's
he's going
gonna
around
be
the country.
random
Going
because
around.
it's lost.
He's trying to sell his little infrastructure plan, which I don't know. Have you seen anything on that, guys? By the way?
Yeah.
Anything progressive? Anything progressive at all? I hear all this talk, but I don't see any, like, really basic anything.
Well,
I'm trying to give Biden the benefit of the doubt here. Go ahead.
If you call getting people in the hood dependent on stimulus checks and the ideology that, you know, all the rent will be freezed and paid for, and then that caused the ambition to get even lower. So now nobody wants to work. And if you're an employer now, everybody's looking to work, but nobody wants to work. So that's a problem with the progressive deal where, you know, everybody's expecting all this free money, but now they are so dependent, they don't want to lose their benefits by actually, you know, being a productive member of society as it were, getting jobs.
Joe Biden was supposed to raise the minimum wage because he ran on it, but unfortunately, Senate parliamentarian. Senate parliamentarian. Yes, so this is yet another thing that is beyond, like, my imagination, guys. Straight up, it's a smack in the face. Joe Biden is smacking the progressive movement in the face every time. So this infrastructure bill, first of all, the minimum wage, Senate parliamentarian. Now this infrastructure bill, all of a sudden he reversed course. It's going to be bipartisan. Yes. Bipartisan, what does that mean? What does bipartisan mean? That means the Republicans are involved. The Republicans who, if they look at anything, they just say, like, plain out, we won't spend more than fucking $500 billion on it. I don't care what it is. I don't care what it is. I don't see it, anything. I just see the deficit because we have Biden in office. And so every time a Democrat's in office, Republicans pretend that they're conservatives. So they're going to pretend to fucking care about the deficit. And so that's what this bipartisan bill means. So what's progressive about this bipartisan bill? I want to know. I want to know what's up because people are going to look at me straight faced in the face, and they're going to just like Bernie Sanders, and he's going to say, "At least it was something. Oh well, we did our best." So I just want to make sure that, like, there's something progressive in here that you're talking about, and I don't have to fucking vomit on myself. But anyway.
Well, I heard that it was close to $6 trillion, and then when the Republicans got involved, when the Republicans got involved, it was 1,400.
1,400 trillion?
No, $1,400.
Oh my God! They're seriously so cheap. That's why they did the lead pipes in Flint. And guess what? See, that's the way. I saw this meme. Democrats are the reasons things don't get better. Republicans are the reasons why things get worse. They're that fucking team. That's why Marjorie Taylor Greene and AOC, they should literally just get an office together. I would make good television at least. They really should. Because they drive me insane the same way.
As the saying goes, if it works, break it. And you know what I mean? That's how the whole Democratic Party works.
Well, so now so it turns out that Biden is not, even though he's the president of the United States and is the leader of the armed forces, and, you know, he's, you know, the master and commander and the leader of the free world, right? That's what they call him in the fucking, in cuck speak. Well, it turns out that he can't do anything without Joe Manchin's approval, because Joe Manchin's like a fucking leprechaun, right? He's like literally the most powerful leprechaun fucking senator in the entire world. He holds the power of every single vote. He is a magic piece of man. This Manchin guy. Yeah, he's more powerful than any fucking president. And so it turns out, not for minimum wage, Andy or Dion, but for his infrastructure bill. His infrastructure bill that he wanted. He wrote the bill. I wrote the damn bill. Yeah, that one. Yeah, it turns out that the Senate parliamentarian is fine with that one, and he's got Joe Manchin on his side. Isn't that, gee golly, isn't that weird? That's weird, right?
No.
Yeah. So, okay, so y'all don't buy either that Joe Manchin is the most fucking magical guy in the whole world. He alone decides the power of life and death? Because that's what I'm hearing from the New York Times. I'm hearing that from everyone. I'm hearing that from Bernie Sanders. Oh my God. Well, not so much. He's just like, I don't want to talk about them. No, talk about them, Bernie. At least near and talk shit about you. These guys talk about you. Start talking some shit, Bernie. Okay, I know you want to talk about the issues, but they're not happening, so you might as well just talk some shit. Just saying, Bernie. Go ahead.
Sure, that works. He's
I just
not
want to
really doing
you
anything else
are a
right
little
now.
cuck. AOC, get your ass to the Congress. Pass me a Green New Deal. Jeez Louise. Is
Well,
that what he was doing?
they're not doing
How's my
any of
birdie?
that. It's not bad.
It's not? Okay. I've been working on it.
It's a little aggressive.
Jeez Louise, Martha, turn down the air conditioner. I'm freezing.
Yeah,
it would be nice if you pulled your
candidate.
hair out like Larry from the Three Stooges. If you just pull your hair out like Larry, like the Three Stooges, you'd be great.
Somebody get me a climate change proposal. I'm freezing. Jeez Louise. Okay. Sorry, guys.
And a Philly cheesesteak.
Oh my God! I can do impressions of all of them. It was a debate. They're such
Okay.
personalities.
I have a question for you.
Yeah, please.
July 4th.
Yeah.
Is coming up on Sunday.
Yeah.
Right?
What's up?
What goes through your mind now when you think about Independence Day for the United States?
That's a really good question. Independence Day. Oh, what? Wow. Well, what goes through my mind around it really? It's mostly because of last Independence Day. I was in a HEB. There's HEBs down here. Henry Edwards Butts, grocery stores. They have it all. Superstores. Anyway, so I go in there and we're all wearing our masks, right? Because we're super scared and we have no idea what's happening. And then there's plastic being drawn over every single fucking cash register, and there's saran wrap around every flower and everything like that, and everybody's like, ah! Kids are fucking in the fucking aisle. Mama, I've lost my mama, I cannot find my mama. And I'm just and people are crying. I'm just trying to buy fucking fireworks, right? I'm just trying to buy fireworks. Oh my God, have you seen Papa? And then I fucking pay. I pay for my shit at the cash register with the fucking spandex all over the way, and then he's got he gives me, he has these little torch things. Here, give me your card. And then he slips it in there, and then he washes his hands and he sanitizes his hands, and then he hands it back to me and he goes, "Happy Independence Day." That's how I feel about it.
Well,
that's a good announcement.
Well, if you want to ask me how I feel about it, I feel very weird. I have an American flag behind me. My roommate's a veteran. And the thing about it is, I was caught up in this recent story about Gwen Berry, who turned away from the national anthem as she's standing there with the other award recipients, wherever it was. And I'm like, well, all these athletes knew from day one, before they got their millions of dollars and their accolades, that this national anthem is going to be played. What's the big deal now? You know what I mean? And it's for me, it kind of irks me. It's you love or hate America, but you like all the money, riches, and glory. What America does, you know what? We need you to, pledge allegiance to the flag and show the world that, you're at us. And it's nah, we'll just take your money and your glory, but screw you still. So I was like, wow, that's kind of hypocritical. You know what I mean? But it goes on a lot.
Yeah. What do you think, Andy? What do you think about that?
When I think of, in terms of my own country and the people, that's what I think of, right? I divide the government portion, the politics of it, with the human beings that make the country, right? I have been to the United States probably in my life 35, 40 times, and every time I've gone there, I've always met amazing people. Didn't matter where. It didn't matter if it was a red state or a blue state. They're human beings. They're just living their lives. They believe in Roe v. Wade, whatever side that comes on. God, no God. Guns, no guns. It didn't matter because they were people. And they were decent people, right? It's the bullshit politics and the media is what's responsible for dividing them and making them think that you can't trust that side. They don't like you. They don't have the. What we have to do, and I'm sorry, I went on this preaching rant. I promised myself I was going to.
What do you think I do? Please
but
go ahead.
But what we have to do is we have to identify each other as human beings. And we have to identify the things that are the same between as opposed to what the differences are, right? I think when we start to do that, when we start to come to the conclusion that we have to stop listening to the pundits and maybe talk to your neighbor over the fence or whatever, and maybe you'll find out that, hey, I've got student debt. My neighbor has student debt. We have that in common. What can we do to make that better, right? Because it comes down to it,
sucker.
When it comes down to it, all of those people that you hear about in the news and in politics and all of that shit are not part of your life around you on a day-to-day basis. It's your community. It's your city, your town, your district. That's your life, right? If you can involve yourself and come together as groups of people, and people are going to hurt as long as capitalism, unfettered capitalism, goes on in the United States like it has. I happen to believe it's at the end of its life, but as long as it goes on and on.
To be clear, you don't think we're going to war? Being realistic about this, guys.
No,
we just have to be realistic.
There's nothing good about war when
obviously
you
not
just do skirmishes here and there and still make the same profit.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
we need a new playground. We need a new playground. We have to get out of Afghanistan, apparently. Trump made a deal with the Taliban. Now we have to find another playground to fucking military industrial complex, industrialize our stuff in. Let's just be real. So, but you say no. Okay, so you're very optimistic. Because we have a puppet of the rich in the office who's dreamed of doing this shit to the Middle East, and he's got friends, the Saudis. He's real good friends with the Saudis and the Chinese Communist Party. So this guy scares me, God, man. I don't understand. I do not understand how everybody was so scared of Trump. Like Trump, it was a dumbass. He was funny. He didn't know what he was doing, and that was the part of the charm of him. Literally, this guy knows exactly what he's doing. He's been planning this shit for 40 fucking years, bro.
Yeah, he's ascended to power. And
he's literally planned this shit for this long. You realize that?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Oh my God. Election day, I was like, I need to find something good about this guy. Do y'all know anything good about him? Like anything good he's done? I'm just wondering. I can't find a goddamn thing.
He's a decent exchanger of oxygen and carbon dioxide.
Yeah, he's consistent with that. I don't care who you hit. That's true. He's just consistent with that one.
And also, to be fair, guys, that whatever they said about him, Trump lost to it. So just think about that. And he's annoying. He needs to go away. I'm tired of his stupid speeches about it. Who cares? I saw people were leaving, trying to beat traffic. You say the same shit, bro. It's old now. I don't understand. Like literally, Republicans, the only people that are enthralled with this shit. I don't even know. I don't think you even are. I think you guys just don't want to jump off the wagon. I think that's what it is. The wagon doesn't have wheels and shit. It's still going down, and literally, you just don't want to jump off. Like you will stand your ground. I get it, right, guys? I get it, guys. But come on, like I'm with you on the insurrection. I think that this government's bullshit, but literally, Trump is an idiot. Why are you guys fucking hooking on this guy? You're really gonna fucking do they? I'm sorry, I can't even talk. Thinking about it, are they really gonna pick him again? Do you think they will?
Well, that's the thing about what's going on right now is getting everybody amped up for the midterm elections.
Yeah, that's what I want to end on.
Unfortunately, everybody's going back to sleep. Trump is not there anymore. He pops up here and there. Pence pops up here. What's this guy from Florida's name? DeSantis pops up here and there. It's not exciting, but if Trump, he'll come back, but we'll see if they do it again. But Joe Biden is looking very weird right now, and I love it. So that's interesting to me, what you showed today. That's very interesting.
And then, just when you miss Trump, he's like, and then they put the illegal immigrants, and I just heard this new thing. It's called free speech. Free speech. I heard this new little phrase. It's called free speech. We're going to defend free speech. He's so stupid, bro. He just learned about free speech today. Trump, shut the fuck up, bro. You're not helping. saying.
The other
Anyway.
thing that why he's not going to do it is he's fucking lazy.
Yeah.
He's a lazy bastard. That's why they never really got anything done. Is because he's just a lazy old rich guy.
You know, I could make freaking like military Navy people bring me Diet Cokes because I can't get a Diet Coke myself. Okay, free speech.
We're just gonna see him walk out from in 3 years. He's just gonna walk around in a house coat and slippers, walking around aimlessly, just like the old people in the seniors home, right?
I mean, if he starts whispering, as long as he doesn't start whispering like Joe Biden. Democratic
excuse me.
A Democratic crime. Excuse me. You know what else? One more thing that I wanted to, guys. I realized that like as soon as like Andy and I were talking, that I was just gonna blow right through all of these questions. So on down because like I'm running out of stuff. But I want to talk about one more issue, guys. That's been during the week that I've been hearing about a lot. It's called critical race theory. So what's the deal with that? What's the deal with this critical race theory? I'm finally interested. At first, I thought it was just a CIA buzzword, but now I realize people are upset, and Congress is literally saying critical race theory. So now I have to figure it out. What the fuck is it? What the fuck is it?
I'm in my mid-50s. My racing days are over. I'm sorry.
Yeah, me too. My racing days are over too. So I've heard. Okay, but this is important, guys, because the kids today, they're learning it. Apparently, this is what I get. This is what I get is that apparently the white, like they teach you this in school, that the white people are bad and they're oppressors. And anyone who's not, this is what I'm getting. I don't know if I'm right or not because I have no idea. But like the white people are the oppressors, and then like everybody else is like the oppressed. And I don't know. But see, most of my shit comes from Laura Ingraham. So who knows if this is true? I have no idea.
Right. So the thing about critical race theory is that this is a concept that's been toyed around with since the 1970s. So like I said, there's some research I asked around. The only problem with critical race theories, as I think, is that because I have friends on the far black left and the far black right, is that it constantly is like a knife in an old wound. It keeps turning it, just like a police brutality keeps turning a wound, and it brings up this sense that black people or people of color can only get us so far because this big scary enemy of racism is out to get them and exists, and at every turn it won't let them advance. Whereas right now in the 21st century, it's a theory of classism as opposed to racism across the board, and economics, as you gentlemen said earlier, and also some of the policies in place, whether malicious, racist, or indifferent otherwise. The thing about critical race theory is that some of the things they're pushing right now, some of them are just emotional buzzwords to get people to feel some sort of way, and it's actually causing and being used contentiously to drive different, to polarize us even further, keep that polarization momentum going. And so that's the hot buzzword I see it.
Yeah, I think that is a hot buzzword because, so the only thing that concerned me is that they're teaching but see, like, I've been the only people who'd really talk about it is Fox. Like, nobody else is mentioning it. So that's on the left, or the real left, or even the corporate left. Nobody's mentioning it in any way. Joy-Ann Reid, all she wants to do is help Joe warmonger. She's not even talking about it. She's the token black on the MSNBC. She's not even talking about it. So I don't know any kind of way to feel about it, but apparently, let's just get this straight.
How does it help black people? How does it help black people get money and income and student loan debt forgiven? I mean, what is it? If you get a degree in critical race theory, what kind of job are you going to get? I mean, really?
That's what I'm saying, bro. This is another reason why I don't know why everybody's always so stuck on the Mueller report. How is that going to help American families? How is that going to help? Like, literally, it's exactly right.
Right.
Okay,
critical race theory. Let's talk about reparations instead.
Let's talk about reparations. I don't know. I wasn't around during the slave times, so I don't think that I'm entitled to work compensation. Is that what reparations are? I don't know.
Once again, reparations is them dangling the carrot for us to meow, meow.
How is that a dangling of a carrot? What are we getting?
Because
who's dangling it? Who's dangling it?
It comes out from the Democratic Party occasionally when it's time to vote. It came out like 2 years ago or so, and they had this whole reparations committee, and everybody's shucking and jiving.
I thought it was the NAACP.
No, it was Urban League this time. It was Urban League.
Was it Urban League?
One of our black organizations and our black leaders were pushing the Kool-Aid this time again, and then it'll resurface again as needed. You'll see. Critical race theory, when that goes down, they'll pull up reparations as part of the curriculum.
So why do you think it's like that way? Because do you think it's outrageous that we would ask for because they did redline and they did do certain things that kept us from reaching a certain amount of a station in society. They kept us below the poverty line. They kept with all kinds of things. During the Industrial Revolution, the whole reason why we're all unsegregated is because they realized they could sell us all a bunch of shit. So then were like, hey, why don't we sell these guys some shit? So now the 1% own more wealth and the bottom 90% combined.
That's how America became
instead of slavery.
Power because of slavery.
Instead of slavery. Yes.
A lot of people don't know that. And with reparations, it gives people, it's about mindset at the end of the day. It gives some people a sense of, they're owed something. And so that's why you get all these retirement programs and things that they keep pushing on us, even though they say we should have student debt forgiveness, we should have a national minimum wage. They could just put, Medicaid for all, UBI, universal basic income, y'all. Come on, everybody. And then it could say, well, it's because reparations we need these things. And then, all right, great. So now I don't have to go but so far in this country because I can't make it so far. It's because it says critical race theory.
What do you think, Andy?
Any
thoughts on reparations?
Well, the current talk about reparations needs to go hand in hand with the progressive policies that we're talking about, right? Like not just throwing money at people. Here, let's give black people more money that they can give to the capitalists, right? Although they're not allowed to own the productions, they're not allowed to we're not going to legalize marijuana. We're not going to offer a job guarantee or a Green New Deal. We're just here's some more money so you can give back to us, right? The whole point of reparations is changing the whole idea of the systemic racism that happens in the United States. It's not just money. It's an attitude changing. It's a more just economy and a more just society that all has to go part and parcel. And that doesn't happen until the duopoly that's in charge gets thrown out on its ass.
I think that's correct. I think, you know what, instead of reparations, I think what I would prefer would be a fucking retransfer of all the wealth back to the people. A seizing of the means of production. Not to be super radical, but literally, Bezos is literally about to buy Mars from the Martians. He's going up there to try to get a mortgage and try to set up he's trying to set up a fucking centralized banking system in Mars.
The final frontier, the undiscovered country.
Yeah, he's bored with us. We cry too much. We really do. We cry.
Yeah,
we cry. Have you noticed that all these billionaires are now getting divorced all of a sudden? It's almost like their wives literally hated them ever since, and then literally
ever since Epstein died, right?
Oh shit! Yeah, that's true.
Boy, they're all there. Yeah,
they're all there. Isn't that weird? It is.
Now
weird.
I have to spend more time with my wife. Oh no!
See, that's the shit that gave QAnon so much steam. Y'all stop being weird. Stop being weird, wealth hoarder, evil people, and then maybe we would literally. Oh my god! Why do you think we're thinking this shit? I'm not too hard on the QAnon. They had it all there. Except for Donald Trump. Donald Trump disappeared in their fucking theory. Mysteriously. He didn't exist in it. Oh, Hillary, she's there? Oh, Donald's not there? I thought they were at Mar-a-Lago together. Oopsie. These guys. So that's confirmation bias. I'm so glad that we could be free-thinking, innovative, and totally open-minded. Because that shit's crazy, right?
Oh, you betcha.
Okay, guys. So any final words on what we can do going forward to be more progressive? And to keep alive the progressive movement, anyway. What can we do?
Well, are you participating in the M4A in July the 24th?
4A? What's that? No, I'm not.
March for Medicare for All.
March for Medicare for All.
Yeah.
I haven't even heard about it. Where is this advertised at?
It is who's the man? Well, it's actually I believe they have a Facebook and Twitter accounts. It's going to be I think they're going to be in 23 cities now, including from one coast to the other, San Diego to New York City. I know Carrie, they've got one locally in Albuquerque she's going to be a part of. Rome Bethia, my brother from another mother from another country, is going to be the main speaker in Detroit, Michigan. It's Savage Joy is participating. There's all kinds of different organizations. It's going to be a big march. It's obviously not on social. It's not on mainstream media. But
well, if you know anybody who wants to like flip, who wants to promote it, I'll talk to him. Tell him to talk to me. I want to know more about it. Yeah, for sure. Well, what's the march going to do? Like, what is it? March going to like? What after we march? So we're symbolically protesting. Is that what the marching is about?
Yeah, though I think each city basically is doing their own planning for their events. They're going to be shutting down traffic. They're going to have they're going down to like a significant building in their city, like City Hall or whatever.
Okay.
And
yeah, let's go to City Hall because it's hot outside.
It's just people want to convey that they want Medicare for all. Right? We
really should have it. We should already have it. The fact that we don't is a crime against humanity. It's okay.
Yeah. Well, and it's murder too, right?
It is. I mean, there's a lot of that going on. We just have so guys, constant vigilance on the wars. Okay, so I got both of you down for no war.
No war.
So that's good. And how do we feel about let's sum it up, guys. What do we talk about? So Joe Biden's insane. Trump is annoying. He's not going to be the nominee for the Republican side. They don't have anyone else, guys. They literally won't even
from Florida. From Florida, DeSantis, governor of Florida.
DeSantis, is he going to do it? Okay,
Marjorie.
DeSantis. Oh my God, bro. I mean,
Sarah Palin, vice president.
She's fun. She's funny though. She's funny. I love how she chases AOC around, bro. It's hilarious. It's like Tom and Jerry, those two. Everybody's taking it all seriously. Okay, these guys were literally there. They were put there to like serve us, and they're not. So I don't give a shit what happens. I'm tired. And have you noticed that it's always AOC who people are picking on? I don't know, man. Maybe it's because she's fucking annoying.
She makes herself a target.
I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. All I can say, all you guys, be free-thinking, innovative, and totally open-minded. And this is Tommy Nation Politics. And you're a very Yankee Doodle dandy. Yankee Doodle, guys. Do or die. Later.